This is a workshop meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, June 11, 2019. At this time, I'd ask everyone to please rise to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Councilman Costa.
Here.
D'Amato.
Here.
Del Ripa.
Here.
Hudson.
Here.
Sondermeyer.
Here.
Gassi.
We'll be here shortly. Thank you. Also with us, our municipal clerk, Brianna Calabro, and our borough attorney this evening, Dawn Sullivan. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Herald News and posted on December 23, 2018. A copy of this notice is available for the public on file with the municipal clerk. Now, this evening, we have some very special items. We have two very special presentations, and I know we have a large number of residents here for discussion on the Red Twig Trail. I said that well. The Red Twig Trail project, as I should. I first again thank you all for being here. I'm honored to be your mayor, and I'm honored to present what we're going to present this evening. Before I introduce our library staff and/or board trustees, I want to talk a little bit about the first presentation. The Bloomingdale Public Library offers a family literacy program. Mrs. Linda Bennett, who I will introduce in a moment, in 2017 as the Children's Program Coordinator and currently as a library trustee, recognized the growing need to help parents improve their parenting and literacy skills while providing young children with early childhood education as well. Now, Linda, as a certified literacy educator, Linda enrolled the help of literacy volunteers who are respectful, patient, kind, and above all, strive to help educate others. The Bloomingdale Free Public Library Family Literacy Program began in the fall of 2017 with the belief that the ability to read, to write, to comprehend, and speak English are essential components in daily life. These programs are tailored to satisfy specific needs, including English as a second language, reading skills, writing skills, high school equivalency preparation, basic math remedial, and the U.S. citizenship exam preparation. Before I proceed, it gives me great honor to introduce Mrs. Linda Bennett, who has done such great things for our borough. And if you would join me in a round of applause for Linda.
I will make my corrections. Also in 2015, married Stephen and I. So my real name is Linda Bennett Tomascovich.
Okay.
But it's hard to pronounce.
Yes. As I said, thank you, Linda Bennett. Reading my notes, but thank you. It also gives me a great privilege and honor to introduce Bloomingdale Library Director, Patty Perugino, if you would join us up here. And we also have Mr. Tom Kroenke, who I believe is a trustee on the board. Yes. If you would please join us here as well, the library board, that is. Are there any other trustees? I didn't see Charlie. Charlie Novak as well, a trustee. Please join us, if you would please, up here. Thank you. Oh, and Maureen Howard. I didn't see a tutor.
Yes.
Yeah, Maureen, please. Hi, Maureen, how are you? Again, Maureen acts as a tutor in our literacy program. Now, not to steal all the thunder of Linda and Patty, But we are here tonight to congratulate, honor, and welcome Amtul Bassett. If you would just stand, please, and come up and join us. I first would like to welcome your son, your daughter-in-law, your grandkids, and your sister who are here with us today as well. And yes, a round of applause for family. Again, we spoke about the importance of the literacy program, and Amtul is an example of the success this program can offer. And through Amtul's hard work, and this is why we're here, to congratulate her and celebrate. I would like now to turn the program over to Linda or Patty. Please, much.
Thank you very much. I just have a few words I'd like to share that are actually from Amtul. I wanted to pursue my United States citizenship status because it has always been a dream of mine, and I wanted to vote. America is such a great country in that it offers life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I have always valued the freedoms that America offers. I love this country and look forward to voting in the next election. The library's family literacy program has been a blessing. I was fortunate enough to have been matched with Maureen Howard as a tutor. Maureen, a retired history teacher, has a lot of knowledge about American history. She worked very hard preparing me for the citizenship exam. English is not my first language. The details of the language, as well as providing me lots of materials to educate me on American history. Linda Bennett also did an amazing job of connecting me with Maureen and providing me ongoing support throughout the process. I can fully attest to what the amazing family literacy program has to offer. My citizenship application was submitted in the summer of 2018, and my interview was in March of 2019. Throughout that 8 months, to take the same steps towards their pursuit of becoming a U.S. citizen. Thank you. And one more minute of your time, please. Her daughter-in-law, Farah, would like to say just a few words.
Thank you, everyone, for your time today. We just wanted to say how proud we are of my mother-in-law for all the hard work she put into it. She's been studying like night and morning and just putting in all the extra effort into citizenship, so we're very proud, especially not being an English native speaker. It's very difficult, a lot of history that you have to learn and practice, and through the program it's been such a blessing to be able to get that accomplishment done, and we couldn't have done it without all the support here of everybody that's come out tonight, so we appreciate everyone's effort. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Wait, Amtul, don't go. Thank you. At this time, before we present Amtul's certificate, I'd like to present Maureen. Appreciation for all your work. Before we were losing, she moved on in her career, but we got her back as a board member, so we wouldn't let her go far. So thank you very, very much. And Patty, the floor is yours.
Okay. We now have a plaque for Amtul from the Bloomingdale Free Public Library. It's the Outstanding Achievement Award presented to Amtul Bassett in recognition of her participation in the Family Literacy Program. Congratulations on becoming a United States citizen.
I'd like to present you as well with the Borough pin. It's the 100th anniversary pin. I have two for your grandchildren.
I got a whole bag more.
So we're going to have another round of applause for Aunt Jewel and her great achievements. Thank you. Our next presentation is honoring veterans and their families of veterans who lived in our borough and lost their lives in service. This evening we are honoring the veterans and their families by honorarily dedicating the streets where they resided when they entered the service in their name. These veterans were not able to return home for their service to our country. Before I present each family, I'd like to talk about another individual who's going to be mad I'm doing this. Mr. Ray Bozzard, a Bloomingdale resident, who also is a Vietnam veteran. Mr. Bozzard is an instrumental part of Mission Honor Veterans Monument in front of the Butler High School that you hopefully all have seen, and if you have not, please take the time to see it. It is Mr. Bozzard who also reached out, along with the VFW, to me and the borough to talk about exactly what we're doing this evening. So, a small token of our appreciation. I would like to present Mr. Bozzard for all he's done for our veterans and for himself serving our country, a key to the city of the borough. At this time, I'd ask our veteran who serves on the council, the United States Air Force, Mr. Tony Costa, to please come off the dais. And I'd ask our Chief of Police to help join me in the unveiling of our street signs.
Yes.
Before we do so, I would like to do one more time. Before we do so, we have 14 streets we will be dedicating. And we invited the families we were able to get in touch with. And honestly, in the crowd, I'm not sure which families are here with us, so I'm going to present a certificate and call out the veteran's name. And we will also be presenting a certificate, which I'll read in a moment, a small photo of the sign that will be placed in our borough. So gentlemen, if we can unveil the first row of street signs dedicated to Bloomingdale veterans. We can unveil a second. Ladies and gentlemen, these will be the signs dedicating the streets these veterans resided on the time they entered military service, and as I stated, never returned home. Beginning with Private First Class Norman L. Sanders, World War II Army veteran who resided on Orchard Street. Lieutenant Albert H. Vreeland, World War II Army veteran who resided on Main Street. Kevin King, Vietnam veteran who resided on Rathman Road. Roy DeKnight Jr., who resided on Glenwild Avenue. Henry G. Warman, Korean War Army veteran, who resided on Highland Ave. Robert Decker, Vietnam Army veteran, who resided on Cedar Street. Arnold Outer, World War II veteran, who resided on Henyon Place. Frank E. Decker, Korean War Army veteran, who resided on Cedar Street. Thank you. Lawrence Van Orden, World War II Army veteran, who resided on Lower Rafkin Road. Sergeant Edward Bodie, I'll pronounce it, I don't want to get that incorrect, Vietnam veteran, who resided on Orchard Street. Richard Mosman, Vietnam veteran, who resided on Upper Reeve Avenue. Daniel Zack, Vietnam Army veteran. You can help me with that one, Ray? It's not Walter Drive, thank you so much. Alfred Green, World War II Army veteran, who resided on Macapin Road. Thomas Byrne, Persian Gulf Army veteran, who resided on Rafkin Road. And William Skeens, World War II U.S. Marine Corps veteran, who resided on Birch Street. So it is the honor of the Borough of Bloomingdale to dedicate those streets in memory and name of the veterans you see before you for their service to our country. So if we can have a round of applause for each and every one. Each family member will receive a certificate of appreciation and gratitude. They all will state with great pride and admiration, the road's name is in the certificate, will honorarily be named after the veteran in memory of his brave service and sacrifice in defense of our great nation and our freedom. Proudly presented this 11th day of June 2019 by myself, the mayor, and the governing body. And I'm honored at this time to welcome, again, if everyone is with us this evening, the family of Lawrence Van Orden, which Rafkin Road will be honorarily named after. Do we have any family member? Thank you, sir. Again, with great pride and admiration, Orchard Street will be honorarily named Edward Bodie in memory of his brave service. Do we have anyone from the Bodie family here with us this evening? Thank you. honorarily be named Thomas Byrne in memory of his brave service. First, we go Army veteran. Certainly with great pride, to dedicate Cedar Street, Frank E. Decker Jr. Certainly in the honor of the borough, to name Walter Drive, Daniel Zach Drive in honor of Vietnam Army veteran. Yes. We are certainly honored to name Rafton Road, Kevin King Road, in honor of Vietnam veteran Kevin King. With much pride, the borough, with admiration, honorarily named Orchard Street, Norman L. Sanders Street, in honor of World War II Army veteran. Again, with much appreciation and gratitude, the borough will be naming McAfee Road, honorarily Alfred E. Green Jr. Road, World War II Army veteran. Alfred E. Green. Thank you very, very much. Again, those are the invitations we sent. Did I miss any ones? If I did, get you a free photo and certificate as well. So every veteran, okay. Which is fine. We honor all of you. We honor your relatives. We honor our veterans. Again, I thank Mr. Bozzitt for helping you put this together.
Thank you all.
Yeah, it means a lot to everybody in our entire borough. So our wonderful public works department will hopefully this time, if he's all hung. We just thought with the way we were doing, it was easier to do them in this venue versus on site. So for many years to come, and forevermore, we can honor our veterans in the homes they lived in, the place they called home. So we can have another round of applause. Here's mine. Please do. Yes.
Hi, folks. Tom Brown, I'm the history teacher here in town. I put this together in recognition of these fine gentlemen that served our town and our country. We went to school with a lot of them. Tom Byrne, I had in school. But Hillman Sanders, and the Sanders family, if you got me back there, they grew up around the corner from me on Union Avenue. They were on Orchard Street. And Norman had a son born on August 31st, and it was a happy day on Orchard Street for his grandparents, Ed Sanders, some people might have known him, his wife Sadie, because he was their first grandchild. And both their sons, Don's father and Norman, were in service. And Norman was stationed in England at this time, preparing for the second wave of invasion of France. And he was a member of the 11th Regiment, 5th Infantry Division. And they were connected to General Patton's 3rd Armored Army, 3rd Armored Division, which is going to push the Germans 400 miles across France all the way to the border with Germany. And Norman was part of it. They ran into a big problem when they hit the city of Minsk. Minsk is right on the border of Germany and France. It's a medieval city, and it was highly fortified by the Germans, who had surrounded it with 45 hardened positions. The Moselle River was one step from the Rhine and one step from Germany, so the Germans were making a stance at the Moselle River, at the city of Metz, and it stopped Patton dead on his tracks. First attack on Metz, they had to cross the Moselle River, amphibious attack, and it was beaten back with tremendous casualties on both sides. The 11th Regiment that Norman was part of, they had 50% casualties. That means every other soldier was either killed or wounded. And unfortunately, one of those soldiers in that first attack was Norman Sanders of Bloomingdale. After the war, they brought home 36 bodies from France. They initially had been buried in France. They were all going back to be buried in Beverly Veterans Cemetery in Birmingham County. And there was a ceremony at Sloan Park for these fallen veterans that were having a ceremony there. And the Norman Sadie Sanders family was awarded a Gold Star banner, which was for fallen veterans. By 1943, we had about 75 of these hanging around the town of Bloomingdale in windows. A Blue Star meant you had son, father, family members serving. A Gold Star meant that they were flying. And Sanders family had Blue Star and a Gold Star. There was another ceremony when an army car pulled up in front of the Sanders house, and Norman's wife Grace, and this is in 1947. The army car drove them to Dover where there was a ceremony, and the 3.5-year-old son, Norman Sanders, was awarded his father's Bronze Star for bravery above and beyond all he did. So he was a hero. I'm sure it wasn't a dry eye and loyalty for that little warrior. So I just wanted to share that. I put this together for the Sanders family, just as a little bit of history to take home with it. And this is the kind of stuff that we hope someday we'll be able to preserve in a Bloomingdale museum. Just one of the stories of lots and lots of stories. And the Sanders.
Before I thank you one more time, all the families, I do want to say, continuing to always honor veterans, part of the jokingly say the never-ending Sloan Park project, the monuments are going to be restored. They're basically the field stone installations. What an honor to contribute to that community. Again, to the families, thank you for your family member service. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you again for what you do for our veterans. We're going to take a 5-minute recess so that the families are joined us for the ceremonies and exit. And then we have a full agenda after that. For Red Twig Trail families, we'll resume in 5 minutes. There are copies of the proposed assessment for the sidewalk portion. You want to grab one on the break, and then I'll do a little introduction when we come back to do business. Thank you, everyone, very much. Thank you. Okay. Again, thank you everyone for your patience. We just have to do some normal housekeeping items, and then we will get to the Red Twig discussion. As most of you met already, Tom Barati, our engineer, who is behind the easel, is here with us this evening to help answer any questions we may have. Tom, you're over there, right?
The man behind
Hey, Tom.
the easel.
Good. As I stated before the break, there were copies of these assessments based on the bids the borough has received. There's my card with my cell number, email, et cetera, and Tom's card for communication, which I'm sure we'll discuss some about in our discussion today. What is on the agenda as it relates to Red Twig Trail is the governing body received a Department of Transportation grant in the amount of approximately $300,000, and the bids on the entire project, including the sidewalks, came in at $811,000. So the borough's funding quite a bit of the project, and then there's the assessment piece for the sidewalks. What's on the agenda are 3 items. I don't know if you picked up an agenda, but under pending business, item A is the second and final reading of the funding, putting the funding in place, the borough's piece of the funding on that project. Item B is putting the $160,000 assessment piece into funding, and that I'm going to move to discuss that first, because that's the one that affects residents directly on the assessment. And then under new business is the award of the contract to Reggio Construction, the low bid, who, and actually Reggio, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, they did Rafkin Road, which was also a sidewalk assessment project. So we are very pleased that they were the low bidder, because they are quality work and they were in and out of here quite expeditiously. But before we get to that point, I do have to just run through the earlier items on the agenda. There is no early executive session. I do have 2 non-agenda items. One is an emergency resolution for Hamilton due to a water main break that occurred last night, and one is a discussion on utility rate. And at this time, I need a motion to open to early public comment, and this is not the section that Red Twig will speak unless you want to, but we have a special public hearing for that. So, I need a motion from the governing body.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So is there any member of the public wishing to speak to an agenda item? And again, Red Twig, you'll have a special time for that. So, okay. Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Department heads, Bree, do you have anything for us?
I don't have any.
Dawn, our attorney, anything?
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Any council member have anything for us?
I do.
Yes, Dawn.
Just wanted to mention, if for anyone that didn't see it on the town's Facebook page, that we have a Eagle Scout project that is in the works over on 2nd Street that will eventually be a flag retirement pit that is being done by Eagle Scout candidate Anthony Catalano. It is on the other side of the senior parking lot. For anyone that has not had an opportunity to go down there and look at it, it's still being completed, but the bulk of it is done, and they really did a wonderful job, and I think it's a wonderful addition to this community. Also, the community garden, we are totally full for the season, and it looks wonderful. It's another place for everybody to go and look, along with Sunny's Garden, which in another month will be totally blooming. And I think that's it.
Good. All right. Thank you so much. Any other member of the council?
Just June 22nd, our fireworks, food trucks, bands, music, beer garden, be a fun event starting at 4 o'clock. It'll run till the end of the fireworks. It'll be a nice town event.
Good. Looking forward to it. Anyone else? I just believe anytime I get a captive audience, one item. Sloan Park, because I hear on the street all these different stories. We ran out of money and It has been the project from hell, but it has resumed last week aggressively. Most of the work that could be done prior to the winter was done, and what was remaining was landscaping and concrete work, thus the winter break. And then when the weather got nicer, we were a little delayed on the new bridge and bridge abutments that just came in the last week, so things are rocking and rolling. I will not give you a time frame because I got in trouble many times for doing that on this project before, but soon. It's just been a long haul, 7+ years of getting permits and approvals, but we're finally seeing daylight. And the goal of this was flood mitigation. It's going to beautify the park, no question, but the goal was flood mitigation, and the engineer's design, which Tom was a big part of, is absolutely working. With all the weather we've had, the water hasn't breached its banks, which it used to quite easily at the car wash and damage Main Street and so on. So if you haven't had a chance, take a look. It's not quite open yet, but you can see it from the car wash, or you can see it from the accountant's office. It's a very effective project, and I'm looking forward to its completion so we can begin using it, as it is the center of our downtown, for public events and things as such. So good news on that front. Right, Tom, our engineer? Good. Good answer. So thank you, everyone. Moving along, I need a motion for Resolution 2019 6.1 through 6.11. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Just one quick item, Clean Communities Grant. We were awarded $15,000. That's running our cleanup days and educational programs we do in the schools. And then item 11 is, again, Atlantic Environmental. Way back before all of our time, when the DPW gas tanks were removed in the 70s and 80s, we are still well monitoring down at DPW. Everything looks good, but it's just continual DEP requirements. We're also authorizing our summer workers and our summer camp help as well in this consent agenda. Any other discussion? Can I have you want a roll call? A roll call, please?
Costa?
Yes.
Tomato?
Yes.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sondemire?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Thank you. So moving along, pending items. I'm going to move item B to be the first discussion, because that is the funding portion that affects the residents in the form of the assessment. So, this is a second final reading and public hearing on bond ordinance 17/2019, sidewalk improvements, Red Twig Trail. May I have a public notice statement, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bond ordinance providing for sidewalk improvements along Red Twig Trail in and by the Borough of Bloomingdale in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, appropriating $160,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $152,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof and the special assessment of the cost thereof.
Great, thank you so much. And at this time, I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, at this time, anyone wishing to speak specifically on the Red Twig Trail project, this would be your opportunity, and here's what we're going to do. Come to the microphone, you must state your name and address. I'd ask you to address the chair, which is me, and then, I will reference to our engineer when need be. But let's not, turn around, talk to the audience, just try to keep it focused on the dais, and we'll stay here as long as you like and answer as many questions as you like. I do want to say that we had an early last year meeting to get a flavor from residents on the project, the assessment project. We received funding from the Department of Transportation, and decided the governing body is wanting to move forward with this project. And sidewalks have always been an assessment project in the borough of Bloomingdale. This is not something new. Like I said, Rafkin Road was assessed, many others throughout town, because ultimately sidewalks are the homeowner's property and the homeowner's responsibility. We feel that the cost based on the borough, in essence, acting as the banker, is a lower cost than any individual is going to receive getting private quotes if your sidewalks need to be done, when they need to be done. And we allow you to pay it over 10 years. So how it works is, whatever your assessment amount is, these are based on the bidded amount. So if anything, these are the numbers. Unless a homeowner wanted a larger driveway apron or something to that effect, then obviously the assessment could grow a bit. But how it works is in your first quarter payment of your taxes each year is 1/10 of that amount billed for 10 years. Homeowners can prepay it because there is interest on it, depending on the bond, 1.5%, 2% range, no more than that. You can prepay it, use the 10-year as the borough being the banker in essence. But if you sell your home, the assessment has to be resolved at closing. So that is just part of how the assessment process works. So at this time, I'd invite anyone and everyone who wishes to speak and has specific questions to please come up to the microphone. And again, state your name and address for the record. How are you this evening? Good.
Mary Hill, 126 Red Twig Trail.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I was at the meeting last year.
Yes.
And I just have one question about my apron and the curb in front of the apron, which I have already paid to replace.
Okay.
And so the cost down here doesn't seem to reflect that. So I wanted to know, is there going to be like additional homeowner engineer conversation?
Well, yes, and again, if that's a general question, anyone who has specific questions as far as, I just did my sidewalks last year or 5 years ago, you're probably already on a list if you gave that information last meeting we had a year ago.
Yes.
But safely take Tom's card and directly email Tom, and he will do inspections of sidewalks where anyone may have that question. But your question, perfect, that's Tom, yeah. Your question is specifically the apron. So what address, I'm sorry, were you?
I replaced the curb
126, I just want to find you
and
first.
apron.
Okay, so I'm going to defer to the engineer. Mary Hill, 126, Tom, has on here frontage, her assessment, and that's including replacing the apron. Correct. And your question is, you've just done that yourself.
Well, a couple of years, we got a permit, we had
Yeah.
it inspected, we had the water company inspected.
Okay.
Yes, so it's new,
So your question,
fairly new.
You're going to email me, set up an appointment with me, and I'm going to come for a visit at your convenience, and I'll take a look at the sidewalk. If it can be saved, we'll
Well, it's
save
not
it.
the apron, the apron.
Excuse me, or even the sidewalk. And that goes for everybody. So if you want to make an appointment, email me, tell me your times and days you're available, I'll come out and meet with you.
But
And
you're-
if it can be saved, I'll save it.
Which-
If it can't be, then, we may need to replace it.
But your number's not going to grow. This number includes,
Yes.
the assessment you see includes the cost of a new apron. So
I understand.
if anything, it would be a reduction if you were able to save it.
Right.
And just so everyone knows too, and this is where it can get a little, frustrating for the homeowner, is visually it may be perfect and all of that, but we also have a big chunk of this is paid, more than a third, by the DOT. And they have spec and they have elevation issues, so everything has to work, not just visually how it looks. So hopefully it will. But Tom's the guy who will make that determination. Great. Thank you so much. And who else would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Aaron Jasper, 125 Red Twig Trail. About the aprons on the driveway, that's the easement from the public road to the property.
Correct.
And I understand that the sidewalks are private, so
Correct.
that's on the homeowners to
Correct.
fix that. The aprons connect the curbs to the sidewalks, that's on the town. And all the research I did on that says that that is on the town to do that, so that wouldn't be in the assessment, that one. And
Tom?
there's a bunch of towns in the state of New Jersey that you could simply Google that says that that's not on the assessment.
Right, the borough-
So there's a precedent for that.
Yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying, because I kind of remember this on Rafkin. The curbs and the aprons are on the borough or part of that assessment?
The curbs are on the borough.
And the
Okay.
aprons, too.
The aprons are on the owner along with the sidewalk.
No.
Okay.
That's normally how we calculate it.
Okay, but just gentlemen, I'm sorry, did we get a name and address for the record? Just so
Aaron
I-
Jasper, 125.
Just want to make sure Bree had
I can
it.
send you a link that shows.
Yeah,
that
well,
there
Mike,
was a-
I would ask you to do that, because I remember
Yeah.
with Rafkin, we may not have assessed the aprons. We'll have to look at that. But I'd ask you just to take the two cards.
Yeah.
Email us the
No
case
worries.
law, case study you're referencing, and we'll have it reviewed, and if legally we can assess that, we'll have to review it, but there's always a big misconception on easements. Often, all the time, an easement just means the borough has the right to access
Yeah.
it, right? You still own it.
It's like the road, you know, the road brings the vehicles to our
Right,
houses, but that's
right.
it.
But if you, it's like I use the example, because for years the borough was in the tree business. Every time there was a tree on an easement, which is really on private property,
Yeah.
the homeowner's house, the borough, hey, my trees look, it looks like crap, I want to take it down, and the borough was paying for these trees. Well, we changed that because
Trees
it's
on
the
the
homeowner's
property,
tree.
yeah.
So it's kind of, just because it's on the easement doesn't make it ours. So that's kind of the question here. Email us and we'll get a direct answer. And if you're correct, then there'll be a minor adjustment on that amount. Yeah.
And then the second one, the 160 to the 137 rounded up, I guess that would be a contingency, right?
160 to, what are we talking about?
The difference in the bond, I guess the yield to maturity on the bond and the 160, the 137, which is actually the cost, there's the spread. So that would be a contingency, right? The difference?
152.
So if it's 23%.
Oh, right.
Well, it's 23%, right? So that looks like they're almost betting against the sidewalks. They're going to go down again.
No, because in that number, in the actual cost, let me see what you have there. This is,
You just have to pay.
oh, what we funded, because there's, besides the assessment cost, we're only going to assess the users these amounts. We funded because there's engineering, there's design, there's, a lot more other contingency, administrative fee, which is
But wouldn't
usually,
it only be that?
I'm sorry?
So is it the 160 that everyone's, or is it just that?
No, it's the 132.
137?
136, 716
Yeah.
is the amount assessed. We're funding 160, okay, because of contingencies that we're not assessing. We're just assessing the cost of them
And how
doing
long
the
are they
work.
going to guarantee that the sidewalks don't go up?
Tom, what is the warranty on the bonds and all with the contractors?
2 years.
2 years.
That's it?
That's more than any contractor that would do your sidewalk would give you. 2 years. Guaranteed.
Okay. Did you look at Main Street and the bricks were falling apart?
Well, those are pavers.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
18 years old,
Okay.
and salt has destroyed them.
Yeah.
The borough just applied for $1 million grant to redo the Main Street without pavers. we will do similar to Pompton Lakes, where it's bulk of it's concrete with a little paver edge
Yeah.
for decoration. But those pavers, believe it or not, are 16, 17 years old. They're not rotting everywhere.
Since you're the sidewalks, I start looking at all the sidewalks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, and
sidewalk.
and it's something about Wells Fargo, whatever they use, that's the biggest hit we took, and we just fixed it. A lot of the businesses just drop a really
Well, they'll
heavy,
give you a credit
heavy
card
product.
too, even though you're not there.
So, yeah, there you go. We should pay for my sidewalks. So we did a repair there. We're doing a repair next week on the curve by Rite Aid. But for 17 years, then for the most part, they're okay. But those are pavers, and that's a whole different ballgame.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Not Cambridge, right?
No, I don't know what they are. Before my time, it was a little
Home
bit.
Depot. Home Depot.
Yeah, no, probably not. So,
All right.
great. But email us on that question, and we'll
All right,
just
you got
double check the apron. Thank you so much. Yes, whomever would like to speak?
Jim Harding, 102 Red Twig Trail.
Yes.
My questions have to do with the drainage.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed on plans that I believe there's a 12-inch pipe that's running lengthwise, that I believe the leader pipes from the houses, some of them are going to connect into it.
Yes.
All right. Where first is the 12-inch pipe? Is that in the street, under the grass, under the sidewalk, where?
In the street.
It's in the street. Okay.
It's a
So-
12-inch perforated pipe surrounded by crushed stone. It's going to have 2 or 3 functions. One is to pick up roof leaders from your house.
Okay.
2 is to pick up groundwater through the perforations in the pipe. And then 3, there's storm inlets at the surface that'll collect road runoff. All of that will be collected and sent down towards Clark.
Now, when you're saying the last section on the surface, that
Those are the inlet grates, the
Where?
cast iron grates,
the present ones that are there?
new ones.
New ones.
Some will be preserved and some will be new.
Yeah, there will be additional, is that marked on there? So
They are. There's 3 different types of inlets. There's ones that are being reconstructed, and there's ones that are being replaced. entirely, and then there's the ones that haven't been there before that we're putting in new ones. So there's 3 different symbols on there.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking this is, as the DPW knows, they've been filling potholes now for several years.
Sure.
Because the water drains off of this mountain, even though when they wanted to build in Patriot Ridge, the lawyer said there's no water in that mountain. But all this water is coming down onto the street, it's coming down, and it's causing the cracks, the potholes, and everything. And if it's not fixed properly, in 5 years you're going to have the same problems again. But then I have one more question. If you're connecting,
We're putting in 1,300 feet of pipe, by the way, to pick up all that drainage.
And we're also eliminating, before you go, Jim,
We hope to solve that.
right now, there's two basins that just bleed in the backyards down to Clark Street.
Yes.
And they're just washing out homeowners down below. So part of this is tying that water, stopping that too.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of drainage. In fact, that's what delayed the project a little bit, was when we found out over the winter, I had photos from the DPW super with all the ice. We added a lot more drainage than was originally in the project.
And that's why the ordinance I bumped and went back, the ordinance we're going to do next was us needing to fund more for the drainage. And we funded last year.
one other question that I have has to do with the pipes again. Presently, I have pipes connecting my leaders going out into the street. Chipmunks get in there and they clog it up. What's going to happen if the chipmunks get in the 12-inch pipe and start clogging that up?
It's a big chipmunk.
Don't laugh, there's groundhogs too.
So your leader drains will be sent underground, almost like a sewer lateral. There'll be a clean out by the sidewalk, and you can connect your roof leaders. It'll be 4 feet underground. I don't think the chipmunks are going to go into it. It'll be surrounded by stone and plastic pipe.
But there'll be
They would have to go in the storm inlet and go all the way in and then go all the way up. Could it happen?
Or they come the opposite way, they come down from the present yards, which I know I had because I dug it up around my vegetable garden because it was clogged up.
So we have a clean out that you can snake, and then you have to snake from your pipe work up between the clean out and your house.
Okay.
So it's almost like a sewer line that if something got in there, you'd have to clean it out.
At least there's access, that's
Correct.
what
Right.
I'm trying to find out.
Clean out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Anyone else, please? Does anyone else have any questions?
I just don't mind the thing.
Yes.
John Sullivan, 121 Red Twig. The grass, I have sod, that's, I originally put the grass into the sod. How much damage do they do with the curbs and the sidewalks?
Do you have a grass strip between your sidewalk
Yes,
and the curb?
sod.
It's going to be ripped up.
The whole thing?
Yeah. And the spec calls for topsoil and seed.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah. And if there's anything we can do to get the contractor to give people who have sod some sod, I can ask and see
Right.
what they can do.
We'll look
I
at that.
appreciate
They've done that before on certain
So
properties.
this was an extra expense when I put it in 25 years ago, so.
Right. We did, on Rafkin, we had people that sod. We tried the seed. If it didn't take, we ended up coming back sod in like 2 homes.
Yeah.
So
On
Those-
Ryerson
and
as
we'll
well.
have photos of before and after.
On Ryerson as well, there's a head
Yeah.
house in that sod.
So
We can work with you to try to see if the contractor will lay that sod for you.
okay, do I get in touch with you or? how do we-
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta-
Copy
I never
me
tried.
on.
Yeah, and you'll know when we're there. We're gonna be setting up shop for 2
Oh,
or
okay,
3
catch you
months.
outside.
Yeah.
Guys, anyone who's going to email Tom, copy me also on that email,
Sure.
just so I'm in the loop.
Okay, great.
We'll take care of that.
We'll do whatever we can to put the sod back. All right.
How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm Bob Schaefer, 142 Red Twig Trail. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I have a roof drain, right, but I would also like to keep my sidewalk. Where is that roof drain going to drop down on my property, to meet the pipe that's
Okay.
going to go
So if he's able to keep his existing sidewalks, because that's what he would like to do, how would we run his drain to our main,
You would have to try to
trench it?
dig underneath the sidewalk without undermining it and make a connection for you. We could do that anywhere within your frontage.
Well, right now, the roof drain ends, it's right at the end of my apron.
Okay. You're all the way at the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Father, how old are your sidewalks now? Mr. Schaefer? Lost him.
This is 15 years old.
How old are your sidewalks now?
How old is it?
Your sidewalks, I'm just curious.
15. That's a good show. I replaced part of it with the apron. There's a section between me and my neighbor, which is an original sidewalk,
Okay, I'm just curious.
you know, and the rest of it,
Right.
say in the apron, or the driveway area to the end, it's all
Right.
good shit.
I mean, just so everyone knows, if your sidewalks are, 5, 10, 15 years old, you're not going to win the argument of not replacing them. I'm just pretty confident about that. I'm not to put words in my engineer's mouth, but the ones we're going to, if you did it in the last 2 years and those are the kind, if we can do it with inspect, we'll keep them. But if your sidewalks are 10, 15 years old, it'll be a tough sell to keep them, right, Tom? I mean,
Yeah, and we also don't want a checkerboard. We're not gonna come in and just do a pad
Okay,
here
let me ask you another
and a
question.
pad there, so.
right.
Okay, when you're doing the top of the curb is gonna be your government grade, the new sidewalk, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now the new sidewalk will have, would it be a typical detail where it's a 1/4 inch pitch, from the house side of the sidewalk right to the street, so everything drains through?
Right, 2% pitch. It can't be any more. In fact, it's a little bit less than 2%, because this is funded by the DOT, by the way.
Right, it's a 1/4 inch per foot.
Yeah, right. They come out, and they come out with
Yeah.
smart levels. They did it on every job that I had. I've had to rip up sidewalk. In fact, we had to rip up sidewalk on Raffian because the DOT said it was 2.2% instead of 2%. So 2% is the max. We set it at 1.5, so we make sure we're doing it right now.
Okay,
Because
so-
the DOT will rip it up.
Okay.
And if yours doesn't conform now with the slope, and that's a 2% cross slope,
It's not very good.
well, then I may have to rip it up.
Okay.
And it's likely that I will.
I got
And
another.
that's the state, because they gave us, I don't know if you remember, but the state gave us $275,000, which is a big amount to defray the cost. So we have to follow the rules. But,
Now, there's another question. I don't know what happened up at Starlight Camp. Within the past couple of years, there's a lot of water coming down. And it's all bleeding out right at the end. And I actually put a little dam on my sidewalk and the water goes over the dam into the sea. The sea.
well, we're replacing that inlet.
Yeah, okay. But I don't, I don't know what could be done because that water is going to continue running. Because it actually comes down as a slope there and comes down, goes into the street.
So I'm
When
gonna-
it doesn't go into that street, it's going to go into his property.
I'm gonna come out and meet you on a rainy day. You're available, I'll come out and meet you.
Any day, it's been running for months.
It's still running?
It's been running for months.
So it's not just when it rains?
No, it's October.
All right, I'll come out and meet you.
Yeah, we've had 80 inches of rain since October.
Well, it's been a wet
Yeah.
12 months. All right, you're at 142.
142 right to the street.
All right, so you're concerned about the drainage coming off of Star Lake?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll come out and meet you. Do you have my information? Can you tell me when a good time is? Email me your number and a time that I can meet you, days and times. Yeah. I'll come out and meet you. Okay?
Good.
And we're gonna be out there for a couple of months, so if there's any other issues that arise, you can bug my inspector, has a Darmagowski vest on.
Now, if I get the sidewalk replaced, this here drain, which is right here, will drop down behind the sidewalk and then the pipe.
Your drain will probably connect into the inlet, but if not, it will connect to the pipe over here. You go either way.
Yeah.
We're gonna set that drain where you want it, in your preference, to pick up your roof leaders, because not everybody's roof leaders
I have a
are at the
roof
same
leader
location.
going into the existing.
Okay. Then we'll
The existing.
we'll replace it. Or leave it there, we'll replace it if we have to.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question or comment? All right. So seeing no further public comment, oh, yes. Just made it.
Ralph Dolce, 56 Red Brook Trail. A few questions. Where can I get the plans for the layout of my property?
I'm sorry, the plans for the project?
No, for my property, the layout.
Well, you're responsible to obtain your own survey. I mean, the town does not, we have tax maps, but they're just very
that's-
broad.
Okay.
Well, the tax office, but they're just going to give you a very broad map that shows, the box of your property. It doesn't have,
Okay, 'cause
it's not a survey.
My understanding is that the house is 25 feet from the end of the property. The front of the house is 25 feet.
Okay.
Well, 25 feet is where the sidewalk begins.
Okay.
So if that's true, then the sidewalk is not on my property.
Again, did you get a question?
No, the sidewalk is in the right of way.
Right.
But it's your responsibility.
Right.
I understand
Correct.
it's responsibility, but it's not mine.
In some cases, they're on easements where it's in your lot and block. In some cases, it's in your right of way. And regardless, you're responsible for the maintenance of sidewalks.
Okay, I understand that, and I shovel it, I patch the concrete at times,
Right.
and why should the homeowner have to foot the entire bill for these new sidewalks? I
Again.
mean, $1,900 is more than I make in Social Security for a month, and you want to take it for sidewalks, I can't even eat it.
Well, we would take $195 of that annually for 10 years to give your home brand-new sidewalks, which would absolutely help its market value and appearance, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we can have this debate all day long. I just feel if someday your insurance company did an inspection and said, you need new sidewalks, okay, now you have to do it. You'd be spending double this amount if you had to do it and have to pay it in one lump sum versus over 10 years. So I understand your questioning, but the governing body is in a position where they feel this is cost effective for the borough and the residents to move forward on this project. So that's,
It just seems to me it's a lot of money.
I'm sorry?
It just seems to me it's a lot of money.
If we're going to assess you $1,950, a private contractor would be well in excess of $3,800 for the same job.
It's still a lot of money.
Right,
That's
right.
all.
Understand. And I can appreciate that, but this is the position of the governing body. So.
I didn't think I was going to win.
No, it's good. Always up for a debate. Thank you. Just need to come back, same name and address, the whole 9 yards.
Patrick Wilson, 149 Red Twig. What's the timetable?
Well, the goal is to award the contract this evening, and then, Mr. Engineer, in a perfect world,
Start date.
we start in late July
Yeah.
and be
like
done.
July, 2 months,
Right.
2 months. The bulk will be
Dusty
done-
August.
I'm sorry?
It'll be a dusty August.
It would be, if we waited, it would be a dusty October.
That might not
146.
include the paving, the 2 months for the bulk of the work. The first thing that you're gonna see is a lot of drainage work happening first.
Now, do
You'll see all the
you have sidewalks now? Right, so that's why he's not on your list.
It's not on the list.
But I am going to email you about the grade.
Good. Important. Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir. Just need to go through the motions again, name, address still. It's the rules.
Time.
I don't make the rules every time.
All right, Aaron Jasper, 125 Red Twig Trail. So just one more. So after this is done, and the next tax assessment, you're not going to up the property taxes
No.
as well, correct?
It will not be reassessed for value as a result of this.
That's
correct.
on a Bible?
That's
Here,
on a Bible.
in front of everything?
We did a reval in 2011, right? So we're good for a while.
But that doesn't mean when a reval comes, things don't change. We have nothing to do with.
No, reval's different.
Right.
The last reval, that was my first year as mayor. The court-ordered reval. Last one was 25 years before that. By law, we're supposed to do them every 10 years, which I can't imagine happening. But the answer to your question is, on the record, loud and clear, you will not be assessed an increased market value or increased assessed value due to your sidewalks.
Yeah, because they want to get everything.
Correct. Wait, were they? That's not true.
He said that we did.
Easy now.
All right, just want to make sure.
Okay, highlight that name and
You said
address, will
increase
you?
the value.
Well, if you're going to sell a
Well, I know
house, it
it's
will.
increasing the value, but we don't want to increase the value.
Duly noted. Good. Put that address in yellow highlighter there, will you, please? Anyone else, please? Okay. Seeing no one, I need a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, at this time, I need a motion to adopt the funding for the assessment portion, ordinance 17, 2019. Who makes that motion, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Tomato?
Yes.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sandemeyer?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Good. Okay. We could take a recess if everyone is going to stay. We can continue. It's up to you guys. Yeah, on recess, then you can exit or you can stay through the meeting because that was your portion of Red Twig. That's it. The next ordinance is Red Twig, but that's the municipal funding and then awarding the contract. Thank you, sir. So we'll take a 3-minute recess. Notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by
And
title.
who makes that motion, please?
So, second.
Bond ordinance amending and supplementing Section 3A1 of Bond Ordinance Number 13-2018, finally adopted by the Borough Council of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey on May 1st, 2018, to increase the total appropriation referred to in Section 3A1 from $939,000 to $1,239,000, and to increase the total debt authorization referred to in Section 3A1 from $939,000 to $1,239,000, and to amend and supplement other provisions therein.
Thank you. And before I ask for a motion, just so the council understands, that's not the total funding for Red Twig. Remember, that's amending last year's capital ordinance. That's why it's up to $1.2 million. I need a motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak? 16, 2019. Seeing no one. Motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who moves to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sandemeyer?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Tomato?
Yes.
Item C. You good? Second final reading ordinance 18, 2019, capital surplus for HVAC system. Again, this is not new borrowing. This is utilizing capital surplus funding to fix the reins of our HVAC. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance appropriating $40,000 available from the general capital surplus fund to provide for the HVAC system improvements described herein and by the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey.
I need a motion to open public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to 18, 2019? Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who moves to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All, roll call.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sandemeyer?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Tomato?
Yes.
Del Ripa?
Yes. Thank you. New business. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna, what's the timetable on that one?
On that
No.
one, immediately.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't sure if.
Like
they-
within the
if-
next week,
Okay.
week and a half tops, yeah. I've already
John,
put them on radar.
what's left in the capital surplus?
Off the top of my head, I do not know. Send me an email, I'll get you an answer tomorrow,
No.
please. I need a motion under new business to adopt resolution 2019 6.12, award Red Twig Trail sidewalk improvement project to Reggio Construction. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sandemeyer?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Tomato?
I'm going to recuse from that.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Item B, I need a motion introduced by title Ordinance 19, 2019, non-solicitation. This is an amendment, just so everyone knows. We did this, adopted, but there was language in there that it was crazy that the borough would make notification to residents about solicitation, so we're cleaning that up. Bree's already created the form, we're marketing that to get people to start registering for the no-knock ordinance, but we have to redo it. So I need a motion introduced by title. Who does that?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second and final reading, 625? 625.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 4 titled General Licensing of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Thank you. Item C, no problem. Item C, I need a motion introduced by title ordinance 20, 2019, zoning amendment, Chapter 92, Anna Rosa Court. Second and final reading will not be until August 20th due to planning board review and notice because it's a zone change. So first, let me ask for a motion introduced by title.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 92 zoning, Article 2 zone boundaries, Section 92-5 zoning map of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Great. And I just want to give you just a quick synopsis of what we're doing here. This is an email from Mr. Bill Graff from Ordinance Review. By multiple actions of the Zoning Board of Adjustment some years ago, the 14 lots on Anna Rose Court subdivided were developed using an R40 standard, but they were never rezoned to R40. Today, you have 14 lots remaining in an R130, creating, in our opinion, undue hardship on property owners wishing to modify site plans having to adhere to the R130 standards. The 14 Anna Rose lot courts, along with 3 additional lots, 2 of which are similar size of Anna Rose, in the immediate vicinity, create a contiguous, cohesive, and self-contained section. Ordinance Review recommends that 17 lots be rezoned to R40 from R130. In this section, in addition to the 17 lots, which are subjects to the recommendations, there's 1 lot zoned public, in which should remain public. We believe the recommendation rezoning will not impair the borough zoning plan and ordinances, et cetera, et cetera. So, if you recall some of the applications, and Ray, as a planning board member, maybe you do, anytime someone in Anna Rose wanted to sneeze, they had to go to the board, decks and things, because the zoning just didn't jive with how it was built. So we're just giving it uniformity based on the recommendation. So it was a great recommendation. So great. And we have to notice, and planning board's got to review, and that's why our second and final. All right, so we're good there. There was 2 non-agenda items. First, I need a motion to approve resolution 613, declaring Hamilton Street an emergency due to the water main break last evening. Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Costa?
Yes.
Tomato?
Yes.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sondemire?
Yes.
Another non-agenda item, and this is, not a favorite topic of anyone's, although we've been putting it off for some time, is a water rate increase, actually a utility rate increase of 10%, or recommendations 10%. I put in front of you a calculation using 6% and 10%. Our order is recommended 12%. Based on our current growth and our use of surplus, we will be out of money if we don't do an increase. Now, we've been putting it off, doing leak studies, which have worked, and soul capacity to Riverdale, all that's been buying us time. And then with a 3-year delay on potential development, over the last 3 years of that litigation, kind of slowed things to where we thought we'd be today. So, rather than, in my opinion,
Converting to Butler water.
with the Butler water delays in DEP's hands waiting for the permit.
No, I'm just saying that also
Yeah,
added
and that
to the
also
issue.
delayed, yep. But the good news is, we were at a 40% difference between what Passaic Valley billed us and what we billed out to customers. Developing a drought study plan, I have to for the Butler conversion, we're at 9% now. So the difference between what we pay Passaic and what we bill out is only 9% differential. Remember, it was 38%? With the leak studies, it really recouped a lot of water. So, rather than do 6% and have to revisit this in a year or 2, I'm recommending 10%, and it generates an additional $387,000 in annual revenue, of which obviously if we do it now, that's why it's on the agenda now, to pick up July's billing cycle to generate 6 months of this increased revenue for 2019. And that's where we are. And if, I'll never say we'll reduce rates, but if things come to fruition and we have hookup fees and cell capacity, we can always revisit it. Rich just asked that question.
We've been working on these permits and all that stuff.
Ask the question not with a tone. DEP has not issued the permits. It's not on us. It's Butler's applying
Did
the
we
DEP
finish
for the
that- did we
permits.
finish that paperwork?
As I discussed with you, I think 3 days ago, The drought management plan is not completed. Butler just sent our engineer the final data requested. So I would hope that would be completed by next week. We send it to DEP, and it's at the mercy of DEP. Don't forget, this has been in the DEP. We funded last year's capital, the pump station, $260,000. We funded. And then it's kind of like we're at the mercy of DEP and Butler. Butler wants to make it happen, but DEP keeps throwing curveballs in it. And, you know, if I had to make a guesstimate, I'd say hopefully by October, September, we're connected. But I don't like to do that because I would have thought it would have been a year ago. But I can't control that.
I'm sorry, shouldn't we be looking at this a little bit to be, instead of, I mean, we're always reacting to what we don't have for the utilities, and the rate increase you're saying is going to be like that. The auditor want 12%. You know, I just think that we should be looking at this, you know, at least mild increases along the way, not reacting and saying, hey, 12%,
But
10%.
if you do 2% over the next, say, 5 years, you'll be out of money by 2021. Without, his recommendation was 12%.
This year.
Well, we'll be out of money this year, but what we're doing is, the 10% will give us a little cushion on that. Right. I mean, it's a 3
We're
point.
still gonna be short, yeah.
Well, but we have surplus that we can still rely on.
Yeah, but we don't have much of a surplus, and we are using 600,000.
600,000.
Right? This is only gonna get you half a year at 387.
Yeah, but no, you're
So-
generating surplus anyway. You're generating, with this increase, you should generate roughly 900,000 in surplus at the end of the year, and use 600
I asked that
to pay the
question, they
bills.
said no.
Yeah.
Well, we bill out and look, we are spending zero surplus. What-
Yeah. This will get us, this increase will keep us whole for 3 years, and that's what we hope. We get the fees and hookups and all the other thing from the thing we were waiting on for 7 years. So, again,
Because
you
the
have to do
auditor said
something.
18.5%. That was the number that he floated by us in those meetings, you know, we had. So it's a little bit off. I mean, I agree that we should just go 10%,
Right.
6%, 10%, just do 10.
Well, originally, we were
Okay.
thinking about going, 4, 5, 6%, and then use, if we sell land in town, use a chunk of that to offset, and then when you get the hookup fees, kind of, reimburse the utility, but we don't know when that's happening. Although I got a good email today that everything's kind of approved, you just gotta get dates now. So, Tony, I hear loud and clear. Again, it hasn't been an increase in 10 years. We've been living off surplus, which was Avalon Bay, selling capacity to Riverdale. And the things we've done, like the leak study, recouping, lowering our total wholesale cost of water. Butler is going to be about a $200,000 savings there, so as long as that happens before next year.
And that's what I'm saying. When we had the surplus that we had, we should have been raising the rates a little bit here or there, not hitting people with 10%.
I don't disagree with you. I agree.
Just see them reactive.
I agree with you 100%. The same as taxes. You should have a 2% tax increase every year, and not worry about flat. Because then, look, it gets you in trouble. Then you need a 8% tax increase one year. But that's I've never heard, no disrespect, you in 6 years say, hey, let's increase sewer rates. So here we are. No disrespect, but that's a fact. So again, I think part of that too is budget committee wise and putting off the inevitable. Ray, you can attest to this more so because John wasn't quite involved back then on the budget part thing and Rich. We've always had this, the what was going to happen, okay? And then we had litigation. An individual sued and delayed that 3 years and so on and so on. You know what I mean? So that's your biggest answer right there. But now that we're clear, we're done, we're just signing contracts soon, and that's a reality. But we're not going to make it to that. And
Yeah,
this plus
based on
that,
estimates from 3 years ago when we sold that, we got $1 million.
right?
By now, we should have been getting revenue.
Correct.
From the developments, but
Right.
here's where we are, right?
You just gotta,
We're at another
you gotta
3 years,
look
4
at
years.
it too. I mean, it was what, $261,000 for the transfer station that the utility paid for, right?
Well, we borrowed money, so the utility
Okay.
hasn't been anything
Yeah,
other than
but,
debt.
I mean, it's.
Utility debt's gone up like 90
Right.
grand. The
And
overall
then
cost,
we
what was
had
it?
the
what's
meters, we got hit by the meters.
That's debt, and that's absolutely an
know.
impact, and that's part of this. What was the total debt increase on the utility repayment? It was like 90 grand, $87,000. Was our total increase in the budget, but there was an increase on debt repayment because of the $4 million of improvements we've been making and doing and things. Yeah, and we were able to survive 10 years without an increase. Again, this is our order's recommendation, I'm putting it in front of you, kind of works where we're at. So we're introducing by title. Did I get any motions?
No,
Right?
we've been in
So I need
discussion.
a motion introduced by title, an ordinance with second and final reading on June 25th for an increase in our utility rate of 10%.
Are we increasing to 10 or
10%.
6?
10%, so we don't have to revisit it sooner than later. Do I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion?
Sorry.
No problem. Roll call, please.
For the introduction?
I'm sorry, all in favor? I got distracted.
Yep.
All in favor, we're good? All right, second final, June 25th. I didn't hear it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 1, 2. I need more ayes. If you want to,
Nays? Any nays? Just ask that question. Tony, we're going for 10% because it makes sense. Why increase it $15 this year, $15
Right.
next year, when you can just increase it $30, call it?
It's not $30 and it's not.
on the
Whatever
average,
it
on
is,
the
right,
average,
10%
on the average
is
household,
300.
on the average household, it's 38,
I'm just using
$38 a
300,
quarter,
right?
$160 a year.
Here's this, 280.
Again, guys, we got to pay the bills. You'll
Yeah,
be having to do a 30% increase next year if you don't, because you'll have no money. So, and this is where we are.
Do you need to do a
Need
roll
to
call
govern.
then?
I have a yay and yay. John? John's a yay, that's 3. Need one more yay and we can move along. This will be a full roll call vote next meeting though. So I don't want to go through the motions. We have to get this done. Dawn?
No.
You're a no. How do- Okay, we're gonna do a roll call. Roll call.
Costa.
No.
Tomato.
Yes.
Del Ripa.
Yes?
Hudson.
No.
Sandemeyer.
No.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Yes, on my tie-breaking vote. Moving along.
Wait, did Tony vote?
Tony voted no.
Yeah, he voted no.
3 no's, 3 yeses.
I think you're saying we didn't increase rates for the last 3 years.
And a vote no.
No.
It's about paying the bills, guys. It's not choices we made. It's keeping it up. It's just
If
incredible.
you're voting no to the 10 and say 6.
I'm sorry?
Make the argument.
That wasn't an option.
Reading by title. Okay, vote's done. Reading by title.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale to amend and supplement Chapter 17 entitled Water and Chapter 18 entitled Sewer of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Bloomingdale, including a schedule of rates and charges for services rendered to the users of the water supply system and sanitary sewers.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion for late public comment.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone?
Aye.
Seeing no one.
You scared them all off.
Can I have a motion to close?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
We do have 2 matters of executive session. One, I'm sorry? Right? No. I need to add one. Sorry. Well, we're going to. So this time, I need a motion to go
Oh,
into
wait,
executive.
no.
What?
If something happens that requires a
Oh,
vote?
yeah, always. Consideration of executive session business, public comment will be allowed to be given. Meeting schedules posted, June 25th, July 23rd, on member, only 1 a month, so do your best to put on the calendar, because we're going to need 4 votes most likely on some. I need a motion to go in executive session at 8:41.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.